Hi everybody, my name's Chris and I'd like to talk to you about addresses because I don't think addresses actually work that well. This is a map of Brazil's largest favela in Rio, and this is what you see. So you've got one road and a load of empty space. If you switch that to satellite view, it's actually pretty different. There's a lot of people living here, and these people have literally no way of explaining where they live. They are literally not on the map. But even in a lot more countries that you would think are a bit more developed, like Dubai, you would think that addresses work well, but actually it's probably even worse. This is an area of Dubai. You can see like one street has a name. If you live everywhere else, you've kind of got no way of explaining where you live. And in some places, it always works a bit too well. So in London, where I'm from, Church Road, there are actually 14 church roads in London, which kind of gets a bit confusing. Now, that problem is actually quite a lot worse in Mexico. The LA Times said that there are 632 Juarez streets in Mexico City, which I'm guessing is confusing for a lot of people. It gets work with like Hidalgo Street as well. So this kind of doesn't feel optimal. Also, how do you talk about the right entrance? Even if you have got a place name, is it the entrance on the right-hand street, the upper street? This is confusing. If you're abroad, it has its own problems. And what happens if you're here? I'm pretty sure this place here does not have an address. So why do I care about addresses? Well, the main reason, I grew up in the countryside, and if you put my street and you type that in on your smartphone, you will actually get here to a cow, not to my house. Now that annoyed me, but what was actually worse was working in the music business, which I did for 10 years. And what people don't necessarily know about musicians is that they spend a lot of time getting lost. Every time we organized a concert, you had to get to like the back entrance of somewhere. In fact, this building's a good example. The place out the back has no address. And this dominated my life with musicians. So what I wanted to do was try and fix it. I was going to introduce latitude and longitude to be the solution. Because you can type this into your smartphone or car, just type in these 16 digits. The only problem is that musicians are very bad at typing in latitude and longitude without making mistakes. And in fact, once it was so bad, I had a call from a piano player who said, "Chris, don't panic, but we might have just sound-checked at the wrong people's wedding." So this felt not optimal. So I talked about this problem with a mathematician friend of mine, and I was like, how can we make latitude and longitude really, really simple? So we came up with this idea. We said if we take the whole world and we divide it up into 3-meter by 3-meter squares, we can actually name every single 3-meter square in the world with 3 words. So you've got enough combinations of 3 words, about 64 trillion, to name every 3-meter square in the world. Does that make sense? So what we then did is made the system. We said, okay, well, this square can be called gazed across like, and we've been around the whole world, including the oceans, and named every square. So what this means is that if you are in the desert, you can now refer to this place as spruced toil fabricate. It means if you're in, I don't know, Morocco, going to somewhere on holiday, well, you can find the entrance at slipping ballroom refrain for that 3-meter square. If you have a stadium and you need to find car park 4 or entrance B, well, you now have lots of 3-word addresses. So given that we've gone around the world and done this, there's actually a way you can find out your 3-word address. We have an app. It's called What's 3 Words. You can search for it, download it, and you can find what we've named your front door. And your front door has 3 words, your back door has 3 words, and you can't change them. They are totally fixed. And just to be clear, we have not just done this in English. We've done it in 26 languages, including Spanish. So your front door has 3 Spanish words, 3 English words, and you can find out what they are. But you can navigate anywhere in the world in your own language, and it works offline. So you don't need to have a data connection on your phone. Maybe you are in the middle of the desert or in the middle of nowhere. You can still use your 3 words to navigate. So this is the idea that we put together. Wouldn't it be great if everyone used the 3 words? So we started out and we said, okay, how do we build this? Because we can't just have an app. We need to build way more than just an app. So we got a few integrations into these small kind of navigation apps. This one's called TripGo, where you can actually type in your 3 words as a destination. It puts it on the map, and then you can navigate there. We got into some cycling apps, like this one called Beeline, and so you can go there. But we thought, okay, we need to step things up. We need a government to actually say, we support the 3 words. So we went to the obvious choice. We went to Mongolia. Someone said, hey, you should come to Mongolia, we've got no addresses. And this is the inside of an average Mongolian home. The problem for the Mongolian postal service is that this is the outside of an average Mongolian home. And if you are trying to deliver mail to people, it's very awkward to describe if you're the house with the red roof kind of by the sandy bit. And the Mongolian Postal Service have a big problem. So yes, we gave them the English version of what 3 words, but then we translated it into Mongolian, and they actually have now 3 Mongolian words. And what people maybe not know is that the capital city of Mongolia is actually this vastly built, informal kind of area where they have no addresses or mapping system at all, and so they really need this. So when I went to Mongolia, we then did our first government deal with the Mongolian Postal Service, which is amazing. And so we kind of went from there. They said, we really need this. And what they now do is they go to people's homes, door to door, and they give them stickers. They write down the 3 words in Mongolian, and they say, these are your 3 words, put it on an envelope, and we will make deliveries. What we then do is we have an app for iPads, which then scans the 3 words, so that they then know how to sort mail, and they can take it to the right places. The delivery drivers have another app. They can put the 3 words in, and it then lets them deliver mail to homes very accurately. So this is post in Mongolia, but it went forward from there. So we then started giving people signs because they wanted to have a sign. So you see that we have them in every window. You see in Mongolia, you'll see one of these signs. Even the bus stops in Mongolia have their 3 words in English and in Mongolian. And now very recently, the biggest bank there, it's called Khan Bank. You can actually put your 3 words in here, because for many people they don't have an address. You can see they actually have, it says what 3 words, then you put your 3 words when you apply for a bank account, which is really, really cool. Thank you. So this is where it began with government. Now we're working with about 6 governments now in totally different ways. This is Tonga, where they've now made, they deliver mail with a solar-powered tuk-tuk, and they have a giant advert on the side saying you should use your 3-word address. We are working in the Caribbean with Domino's Pizza on the island of St. Martin. Turns out there's no addresses, and people like to get their pizza when it's still hot. So we work with Domino's. They have an amazing educational campaign. Even the thing which keeps the pizza not hitting the box has an advert to use what 3 words there in St. Martin. Now, we're kind of gathering momentum a bit, and then we spoke to a taxi app called Cabify, and I'm guessing you guys know Cabify. You can now, as of a few weeks ago, actually type the 3 words into Cabify, straight in, and you can basically say, I want to go to, you type in the 3 words, you select the destination, and then the Cabify cab will know exactly where to take you. So I'd encourage you to try it here. But this is really, really amazing. So we kind of got this momentum. And where we're going from here, so we've got photographers who are using the 3 words to put on their site to say, hey, this is where I took a photo. We've got festivals. People put the 3 words there to say where their booth is at a festival, and they advertise it. Recently, the first emergency services, so someone called up and said there's a fire, and they said, I'm in a field. Do you understand what 3 words? The fire service said yes. They gave them the 3 words, and the emergency services actually went there, put the fire out, because there was no address. So this was the first one very recently, which was really cool. Thank you. For any travelers here, you might know the Lonely Planet Guide. So in July, the first Lonely Planet Guide was printed to Mongolia, and you can perhaps see here every single place now in the guide has the 3 words printed there, which just makes navigating while you're traveling so much easier. TomTom have now committed to putting it into their apps and into cars, which is really cool. And we now have Mercedes-Benz. So if you are fortunate and you get to drive a Mercedes, you can now put it straight into your Mercedes, the first car in the world where you can use 3 words. And they even use it as part of their advertising campaign in German. And I thought I'd just show a short clip of how this works in the car.
Hey Mercedes.
How can I help you?
Navigate to what 3 words? Filled count soap.
Please select an entry.
1.
Do you want to start route guidance or modify the current route guidance?
Start route guidance.
The route is being calculated.
Boom. And that's how it works in a Mercedes. With voice recognition, you just talk to your car. So this is now catching on more and more. People are using what 3 words. Somebody actually named their entire shop with the 3 words for their shop, Tables, Empty Workshops. You can find it there. We have the world's first 3-word beer, which has been manufactured in the States, actually named after the 3-meter square where the beer comes out of the process. So that's Fear Movie Lions. Tastes great. And I thought I'd finish by just talking about a project that we're doing in South Africa, which has a humanitarian role. So a lot of communities there really struggle with pregnant mothers who, when they need to go to hospital to give birth, they call up and people say, "Where do you live?" and they don't have an answer. So a lot of the time the ambulances take hours and hours to find them. So we went to a community with an NGO who are working there called Gateway Health, and we actually made a sign printing machine. So the people from the community could come, we had a computer, they could find where their house was, and then what we actually did was we put together these signs, which we engrave with a special machine, and we then give them to people so that they have a way of kind of acknowledging where they live, and when they can then call up, and they can give the ambulances an accurate way of explaining where they live, and people then come to collect them. So look, that is What 3 Words. I would encourage you to try downloading the What 3 Words app, find the 3 words for your front door, or maybe move it 3 meters to the side, see how you get on. Try it in Cabify, and this is us. We are trying to change the world to make it easier, less frustrating, and a more efficient place, 3 words at a time. Thank you very much.